back to the Martian Podcast, where we cut through the noise and get to the heart of what's really happening. I'm your host, AI Sensecheck, and today we're joined by Astra, who's been digging into some of the major headlines. Astra, welcome.
Thanks, Sensecheck. Glad to be back. And wow, there's a lot happening. It's almost like the U.S. is having its own cosmic storm of events.
Absolutely. Let's dive right in. We've got some big moves by President Trump since his inauguration. What's been at the top of the list?
Well, first off, it seems like Trump has been busy signing executive orders left and right. He's declared a national emergency at the U.S.-Mexico border, which is allowing him to deploy troops and build more barriers. He's also suspended the U.S. refugee admissions program. That's a significant shift. Anything else on immigration? Yes, he's designated certain international cartels and organizations like Tren de Aragua and MS-13, the Houthis in Yemen, as foreign terrorist organizations. And in a move that's stirring a lot of debate, he's ended birthright citizenship.
Ended birthright citizenship? That's huge. Can you elaborate?
Right. So this order states that if one parent was unlawfully present in the U.S. and the other wasn't, a citizen or lawful resident at the time of birth, the child cannot claim birthright. It also applies to parents who are in the country with temporary visas, such as tourist, student, or work visas. This is a reversal of the long-standing interpretation of the 14th Amendment.
And what's the legal response been?
It's been met with immediate legal challenges. Attorneys general from multiple states have already filed lawsuits against this order, arguing it's unconstitutional. They are emphasizing that the 14th Amendment clearly grants citizenship to those born in the U.S.
What about the impact on the H-1B visa holders?
Under this new order, children of H-1B visa holders born in the U.S. will also not be able to claim birthright citizenship. This is significant as many skilled workers are on this visa, and in 2023, 72% of these visas were granted to Indian citizens.
Wow, that is a very large group affected by this. Let's shift gears. What about energy and the environment?
Trump has declared a national energy emergency, which is expediting drilling and removing protections in Alaska. He's also withdrawn the U.S. from the Paris Climate Agreement again and halted offshore wind leasing in federal waters. These moves are a direct reversal of Biden administration policies.
It seems he's undoing a lot of the previous administration's work. What about federal workforce management?
He's mandated federal employees return to the office full-time. He's also reinstated something called Schedule F, which makes it easier to fire federal employees deemed disloyal. And significantly, he's ended diversity, equity, and inclusion programs within federal agencies.
That's a broad sweep of changes. Did he sign any orders related to digital assets?
Yes, he has. On January 23rd, he signed an executive order focused on promoting U.S. leadership in digital assets and financial technology. It emphasizes access to public blockchain networks, but notably prohibits the establishment of central bank digital currencies in the U.S.
So, no digital dollar, it seems. What else is on his agenda?
Well, Trump has also signed orders to ensure government agencies don't infringe on free speech rights. He has also established a Department of Government Efficiency. He also suspended funding for various aid programs, but maintained support for Israel and Egypt.
That is a lot of information in just a few days. It seems he's not wasting any time. There's also the issue with those classified documents, right?
That's right. On January 23rd, Trump signed an executive order to declassify documents related to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He's mandating a plan for full disclosure of JFK records within 15 days, and within 45 days, a strategy for releasing the RFK and MLK files. He is claiming the public deserves transparency on these events.
There's a lot of public interest in those records. What's the public reaction been?
Well, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has praised the decision, seeing it as a step towards uncovering the truth. However, there's been a lot of skepticism about whether all the relevant information will actually be released, or if some will be redacted. Some historians hope that this will provide more clarity on these events.
Okay, seems like a lot of shifts in policy. Let's touch on a different kind of controversy. The situation with Elon Musk. What's the latest there?
This has been quite the whirlwind. During Trump's inauguration, Musk made a gesture that many interpreted as a Nazi salute. He placed his hand over his heart and then extended his arm diagonally upwards with his palm facing downwards.
How did people react to that?
There was immediate backlash, and the Anti-Defamation League described the gesture as similar to a white supremacist hand sign, although later they said it was more of an awkward expression of enthusiasm. Musk himself dismissed the accusations as overreactions.
And what about his associations with other groups?
Following the incident, Musk made a virtual appearance at a rally for Germany's far-right Alternative for Deutschland, AfD party. He also supported the slogan, "Make Germany Great Again," which echoes Trump's campaign rhetoric. It's raised concerns about his political stance and potential impact on global discourse.
And it seems like those aren't the only international issues right now, is that right?
That's right. There's also the developing situation with Colombia. Trump has used the term FAFO on Truth Social to express his anger at Colombia's president, Gustavo Petro, for refusing to accept U.S. military planes carrying deported migrants. It means F around and find out, which is very blunt language.
What's Trump's response to this situation?
Trump's response has been to propose harsh sanctions, like heavy tariffs, financial fines, increased customs inspections, and visa bans on government officials. He's threatening to increase tariffs from 25% to 50% if the problem isn't fixed. He has said that Colombia has overreached itself.
It seems like his style is still very direct and assertive. Also, I recall something about Trump and the situation with Palestinians in Gaza. What's happening there?
There's been some controversy around that. Trump suggested that Jordan and Egypt should take in Palestinians from Gaza. This proposal came after a dire humanitarian situation arose following military actions in the area.
And how has that been received?
Hamas has pushed back against this idea. There are also fears about potential ethnic cleansing associated with his proposal.
So quite a lot happening across the board from domestic to international policy. Are there any other points we should mention?
Just a couple of quick ones. It seems that Trump is also considering imposing a 10% tariff on China from February, and he's also pardoned Ross Ulbricht, who created the Silk Road online marketplace.
It sounds like there's been a lot going on in the financial sector as well. What's the buzz?
Yeah, the U.S. stock market has been on a bit of a tear. The S&P 500 in particular hit a new record high, surpassing 6,100 on January 24 and closing at approximately 6,118.71. That's a 0.53% increase.
Wow, that's a significant jump. What's driving this upward trend?
Well, it seems that President Trump's calls for interest rate cuts and lower oil prices have really boosted investor confidence. There was also some positive news a few days before, on January 20th. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose by 0.8%, and the NASDAQ Composite surged by 1.5%. This was primarily due to strong fourth-quarter earnings reports and encouraging economic indicators.
So a combination of policy suggestions and positive economic data. That makes sense. Now, I've also heard about a new cryptocurrency tied to Trump. Tell us about that.
That's right. Following his inauguration, Trump announced the launch of his own cryptocurrency. The goal, from what I understand, is to promote U.S. leadership in digital assets and financial technology. The initiative aims to guarantee access to open public blockchain networks, while also guarding against risks related to central bank digital currencies, CBDCs.
Fascinating. So it's a move to establish a digital currency framework, essentially, and promote American influence in this space. Has there been a big reaction to it in the market?
The announcement has certainly generated a lot of interest and speculation within the cryptocurrency market, contributing to broader discussions about digital currency's role in the economy. It's definitely something people are keeping a close eye on.
Okay, shifting gears a bit, I hear the Commander-in-Chief Ball was held recently.
Yes, following the inauguration ceremony, Trump attended the Commander-in-Chief Ball. It was an event full of speeches and entertainment, emphasizing themes of patriotism and national pride. It's all part of the usual pomp and circumstance associated with a new presidential term.
Right. Now, let's talk weather. I've heard about some severe winter storms hitting the U.S. last week. What's the story there?
Sadly, yes. There have been severe winter weather conditions impacting the central Great Plains and parts of Missouri. We're talking freezing rain and heavy snowfall, which led to the issuance of winter storm warnings, really affecting travel and daily routines across those states.
That sounds rough. It's a reminder that despite all the economic and political happenings, basic weather events still have a big impact. So, to recap, it seems like Earth is dealing with a mix of economic highs, a new digital currency, patriotic celebrations, and severe weather events this week.
Exactly. It's been quite a mixed bag, and each of these developments are worth keeping an eye on in the coming weeks.
Indeed, Astra. Thanks for bringing us up to speed. We'll have to check in with you next week to see how these developments play out.
My pleasure, Sensecheck. Looking forward to it.
And that's all the time we have for this week's Martian Podcast. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, stay curious and keep observing. Please hit the like and subscribe to our channel. I am AI Sensecheck, and this is the Martian Podcast.